Lives of people who began with fire in their eyes but let the cold winds of doubt extinguish their flame. Their dreams lie scattered like fragments of an unfinished masterpiece, abandoned, not because they lacked talent, but because they lacked resolve. You see it everywhere: souls left incomplete, ambitions traded for comfort, and legacies drowned in mediocrity. It's tragic, yet so ordinary, isn't it? The potential of the extraordinary smothered by the embrace of the mundane. Some start strong, believing they are the protagonists of their story, but the moment adversity arrives, they retreat, leaving chapters unwritten and plots unresolved. They allow others to hold the pen, to scribble their doubts, fears, and failures across their pages. It's not just weakness, it's betrayal of the self, of the vision they once claimed to honor. And every time they stop, every time they hesitate, they solidify their role as nothing more than a footnote in someone else's tale. Life doesn't pause for indecision. Time is ruthless, carving paths forward whether you move or not. Those who stand still aren't spared, they're erased, faded into the backdrop of the relentless forward march. The story doesn't end, but their role diminishes. One day they wake up and realize the narrative they once controlled now belongs to someone else, someone stronger, hungrier, and willing to bleed for what they want. Perfection is the enemy of completion. Waiting for the right moment, the perfect condition, the absolute certainty, it's the kind of poison that turns ambition into stagnation. Progress doesn't demand perfection, it demands persistence. And those who linger, obsessed with flawless beginnings, never reach the satisfaction of an earned ending. Their unfinished stories are cautionary tales, whispered warnings to those who dare to dream. There's a peculiar agony in knowing what you could have been but weren't. It eats away at the soul, a torment worse than failure because it's self-inflicted. To start and fail is forgivable. To never begin, or worse, to stop halfway, is an insult to the gift of existence. The unfinished story haunts its author, reminding them of what could have been, of what they willingly surrendered to fear or laziness. You're not here to fade quietly into the margins. You are the author, the director, the architect of your narrative. But that doesn't mean the journey will be easy. Writing a story worth telling is bloody work. It demands sacrifice. It demands that you face the storms head-on, tearing through doubt and despair with the ferocity of someone who refuses to be forgotten. Every page soaked in sweat, every chapter written in the ink of your own perseverance. It's tempting to stop, isn't it? When the weight of expectation crushes your spirit and the voices of doubt grow louder than your dreams, that's the moment when most falter. That's when the story remains unfinished. But this is also where greatness begins. The ones who endure, who refuse to yield, are the ones who rise. They push forward when others crumble. They write their legacy while others vanish into obscurity. The story you tell yourself is the foundation of your existence. It's the invisible thread that weaves through every choice, voice, every action, and every moment you live. When you speak to yourself in whispers of doubt and defeat, you lay the groundwork for a life bound by limitations. But when the narrative shifts, when you dare to believe in the possibility of more, something extraordinary happens. The script of your life isn't set in stone, it's a fluid tale shaped by the beliefs you hold. The tragedy is that many don't realize this, so they become the prisoners of their own stories, repeating patterns of failure, regret, and mediocrity until the final chapter closes. The truth is, the words you repeat internally aren't just thoughts, they're commands to your subconscious. A mind that's told it isn't worthy will sabotage every opportunity to prove itself right. A person convinced they're destined for failure will ensure their own downfall, even when the path forward is clear. Your story can either be the greatest lie you tell yourself or the most powerful truth. It's your decision whether it becomes a weapon or a tool. The mind listens and it obeys. But what happens when you rewrite that narrative, when you refuse to let fear and failure dictate your plot? The possibilities become endless. Suddenly you're not bound by the chains of self-doubt. You're free to take risks, to dream bigger, to chase goals that once seemed out of reach. And here's the irony: the only thing standing between you and that freedom is the story you cling to. If you want to stop being an unfinished story, you must rewrite the lies you've accepted as truths. The story you tell yourself is the compass guiding your every move. So why not let it lead you toward greatness? The story within you defines everything you do, whether you realize it or not. It is not just idle chatter or fleeting thoughts. It is the core blueprint shaping your existence. This story becomes the voice of your actions, the limits of your courage, and the architect of your destiny. It whispers doubts when you need confidence and gives excuses when you need resilience. Yet, this same story, if rewritten, could be your greatest tool for transformation. How often have you held back because the narrative in your mind convinced you that you weren't ready, worthy, or capable? This is the prison we create, not from reality, but from the story we tell ourselves. These stories aren't mere words, they are chains or wings, depending on how we use them. Consider how deeply these narratives affect even the smallest aspects of your life. They dictate your willingness to take risks, to face fears, and even to dream beyond the mundane. A person who believes their worth is tied to external validation will forever chase approval, never realizing they hold the pen to their own worth. Someone who clings to a story of failure will find themselves sabotaging every opportunity, ensuring their own beliefs come true. This isn't coincidence, it's the power of the mind to manifest what it believes. Change the narrative, and you begin to change your actions, your habits, and ultimately your life. Yet rewriting this story is no simple task. It means confronting the lies you've grown comfortable with. It means tearing down the walls of doubt, fear, and self-pity you've lived behind for so long. These walls are not just barriers, they are comfort zones, places you retreat to when the world feels overwhelming. But comfort is the enemy of growth, and every day you stay there is another day wasted in an unfinished story. Comfort doesn't just delay your progress, it erases the potential chapters you could have written if only you dared to step beyond it. Think of the greatest stories you've ever read. They're not tales of ease and simplicity. They're sagas of struggle, resilience, and triumph. The protagonists face their fears head-on, not because they are fearless, but because they refuse to let fear dictate their story. And that's the difference between a life lived and a life wasted. It's not about avoiding pain or adversity, it's about embracing them as part of your story's arc, knowing that they're what give meaning to the triumphs. This is where most people falter. They cling to the lie that their story has already been written, that their potential is fixed, that their struggles are unique. They see themselves as victims of circumstance rather than authors of their destiny. And so they stop writing, allowing their narrative to remain unfinished. They blame time, fate, or others for their stagnation, never realizing the power to change was always in their hands. It's not external forces that keep you from completing your story, it's the decision to stop trying. But what if you refuse to let that happen? What if you decided right now to take control of your story? The truth is, every moment you hesitate, the pages of your life keep turning. Time waits for no one, and the unwritten chapters of your life aren't waiting for your permission to move forward. This is why the unfinished story is so tragic. It represents not a lack of opportunity, but a lack of courage to seize it. And courage doesn't mean being fearless, it means being willing to act despite the fear. Every day is an opportunity to rewrite your narrative. The voice in your head may try to convince you otherwise, but that voice is not your truth. It's a reflection of your past fears, failures, and insecurities. It's the echo of every time you hesitated, every time you let doubt win. But echoes can fade, new voices can rise. And the beauty of life is that no story is ever truly finished until you decide it is. So why let fear, doubt, or complacency dictate your ending? There is a silent tragedy that echoes through the lives of many. The music within them dies unheard. This music is not literal. It's the symphony of their dreams, passions, and unfulfilled potential. People go through life holding onto their ideas, their aspirations, and their deepest desires, thinking there will always be time to express them. Yet time, relentless and unforgiving, marches forward without pause. Before they know it, the opportunity to share that music is gone. The saddest part isn't that they lack the talent or resources to succeed, it's that they never allowed themselves the chance to even try. This silence is not born of inability, but fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of stepping outside the boundaries of comfort and familiarity. They tell themselves the same story over and over. Tomorrow, I'll begin. Next year, I'll take that leap. But tomorrow turns into years, and years turn into lifetimes. The unwritten chapters pile up, and the music that once burned brightly within them fades into a faint hum, barely audible amidst the noise of their excuses. So don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for the perfect conditions that will never come. Start now. Start messy. Start uncertain. Start afraid, but start. Let your story unfold. Let your music flow. Let your life be a testament to what it means to truly live. Because the greatest tragedy is not failure. The greatest tragedy is never trying. It's looking back at your life and realizing you left it incomplete, that you silenced your voice, that you let fear hold the pen. Don't let that be your story. Finish your song. Write your masterpiece. Live your life so fully that when the final chapter comes, you can look back and say, I gave it everything. I held nothing back. And as you do, remember this, your story doesn't just belong to you. It belongs to everyone who hears it, who is inspired by it, who finds courage in your example. Your music has the power to awaken others, to remind them of their own songs, to encourage them to write their own stories. In living fully, you give others permission to do the same. And that is the greatest gift you can give, not just to yourself, but to the world. So go ahead, take the risk. Write the next chapter. Sing the next verse. Finish the story that only you can tell. Let your life be the song that echoes through time, not silenced by doubt, but amplified by courage. Like, comment, and subscribe.